Running?
Yeah, sure. It sounds like there's a stream in the background.
Oh, yeah.
How fucking romantic. So, that's where we start today. Tell us about your day today at New Japan.
Well, kind of started about a month ago. You know, we were interacting through email and things like that, and we're trying to get something going that I shouldn't really say much about just yet. It's a new company in Mexico and things like that. And one of the bigger parts of the deal was to come in today to the New Japan Dojo in Los Angeles to have a meeting with Simon Inoki about the prospects in Mexico, and also do kind of like a private audition for him with one of the local guys here, so that he would know what to do with me when I started New Japan. And you know, we've been talking about there's a band in Japan called Balzac, and I was over there with Rancid for a month, and they opened all the shows, and they're like the Misfits in Japan, so he liked that idea. He likes the character. He says he's a fan, but he just wanted to see what I'm up to now and how I looked in the ring against some of the New Japan guys. And I worked Friday, Saturday, and twice yesterday, and I kind of blew my back out Friday night, so I was a little sore, and I was on the plane all morning, and plus I think I banged a chick Saturday for a couple of hours, so I was a little bit tired. And I got here this morning. I went to the dojo. Pretty impressive. I never seen it before. It looks like they got a good group of young guys that are pretty dedicated in there. You know, I was a little nervous because you know, it's a lot bigger than just a standard audition. And I had a match. You said it was good. I felt I did okay.
Yeah, T.J. Perkins, Pinoy Boy, Puma Kid.
Yeah, I know I threw him when I felt good, and I was glad that, you know, he approached it like you know, he wasn't like like the size difference. You know, there's at least 100 pounds and at least a foot. I would say a good foot, don't you think?
At least. He's about 5'7", maybe. Yeah.
And you know, it was a kind of aggressive. And when I slammed him, I don't know what I did. I think I picked him up over my head or something. I threw him on the ground, and when I heard everybody in the place go, "Oh fuck," I knew that it was an aggressive thing, and I felt kind of bad about it, you know. But I remember when I had to get my job with WCW, and I remember I was with Norman Smiley. Like, he's my best friend, and I kicked him so hard he couldn't breathe. He said, "Fuck," and I said, "Well, I need a job," you know. And I think the audition went well. They told me they were very happy. You saw the match.
Yeah, it was a great match. Stiff as shit, 7 minutes, no slowing down.
Yeah, you know, they just go in there and improvise, and I think I just kind of beat the kid up for like. He was a great guy, and I'm very thankful for it. But I think I did beat him up for about 7 minutes, and it went really well. And,
then you'll be back on the 26th.
Yeah, and then they're doing their first show, the 26th for Japan. And I mean, there's a lot more to it. That
no use talking now.
Not right now, but I'll be here for that New Japan show, and then they said July, but I have a feeling I start in New Japan in August. So it was a good day.
Yeah. So what'd you think when you heard that Jarrett was floating the bullshit that you were willing to apologize to him to get back into TNA?
Man, you know, this is the third time I've said this. I shouldn't take drugs and do interviews. You know, and I don't mean drugs again, you know, because I usually say things, and, you know, I got this real bad habit of taking the internet personally, you know, and it's the wrong thing to do, because it's just you know, full of really weird people. A lot of, especially wrestling fans. You know, I'm not out to insult anybody, but the majority of kids who go on internet chat boards at 3 in the morning, you know, are fucked up to begin with. And you know, what I said was wrong. I admit, you know, I said certain things about certain people that I shouldn't have said. You know, personal opinions and professional opinions, you kind of got to be careful with, because you could hurt people. And I never did that on purpose. But you know, as a professional and somebody in my position, I don't have a right to say anything like that, because, you know, people take it out of context. But as far as apologizing to Jeff to get back into TNA, that'll never happen. I would apologize to Jeff as a person, because maybe if I was wrong and maybe somebody in his family, like his wife or his kids or him as a person, got offended by something I said while I was under the influence. But apologizing to get back into TNA, fuck, I think that TNA was a bad experience. I hated it, and I wouldn't apologize to get back into TNA for any amount of money in the world.
Who booked that shit where you basically didn't get to do anything?
I have no idea.
Really?
I have no idea. I mean, I know they're trying to do things, but you know, I got along with Jeff real well. I got nothing bad to say about him as a person. You know, we were in Puerto Rico together. You know, we didn't exactly click as friends in WCW, but in Puerto Rico things were cool, and he treated me like a professional when I went to TNA, and he said he had all his plans and his things. Then I got there, and there was like 20 fucking guys who looked just like me. And like, it was Raven who went up to Jeff and said, like, fuck, you know, you brought him in here, and you got 20 guys.
Well, they had Sin and,
No, they had like, they had one kid who had the same face paint and clothes, and it was like, fuck, brother, I mean, what'd you bring me in here for when you got like, you know, all my whole career there's been a million guys, especially journalists, especially people, I don't want to say any names, let me see if I can point one out. I don't want to say any names, but there have been certain people who write things about me and who said that I'm not the greatest worker in the world, and I admit it, you know, and there's a lot of guys in the business, my coworkers, who say that I'm really nothing special, and I agree. But fuck y'all. You know, I went to TNA, Hillbilly Heaven, and if they weren't inbred, there was at least 50 guys. And I'm not just saying that, but there was a whole fucking bunch of guys that were just copies of me. So even though I'm not a very good wrestler, and I haven't done this and done that, and I've never really made the big break and things like that, and I've always been a rebel, and I won't change, I ain't gonna change now. All you people who said I've never really meant anything in this business, take a look on TV, and take a look on the indie scene, and take a look at everybody else who's copying the shit out of my stuff for the last 10 years. It's fucking ridiculous. How many dark characters are there in pro wrestling in the United States right now? Long hair, tattoos, gothic music. Everybody's a fucking creature from the dark side. So, can you imagine if I was actually somebody important in this business? But then again, this is pretty close to being the Bible, so what's in here is the truth.
So how did it, how'd the heel turn in Mexico start?
I was kind of, you know, I went through a hard year personally, and I was kind of really getting sick of the business. And, you know, after being in Puerto Rico, and finally, Puerto Rico was the greatest experience for me because I had access to psychology for the first time that I understood. And I loved being a heel, and it just seemed like such a natural progression for me because I kind of hate everybody anyways. And, you know, getting older, and you know, when I was a babyface, the biggest thing I wanted to do in wrestling was get laid and try to pick up girls. You know, it might not be the best thing to say, but that's basically what it was about. You know, and I had a great time being a babyface. I think I was a really good babyface, not because of the character, but because of the interaction with the fans that I had. But becoming a heel, I felt that I was at a point in my career that I learned enough, and it just felt natural to be more aggressive because I was so bored being a babyface in Mexico because the heels are so non-aggressive, non-charismatic, uncreative. The booking is terrible, and you know, I was just so tired of things. So I really, in my heart, felt like I could make a difference, and I certainly have. And I feel natural at it, and I love it. And the weirdest thing that's happening is that people are responding to me more now as a heel than as a babyface. So it's kind of actually working out real good.
Yeah.
Plus, I can take more steroids and something I've always wanted to do. I don't have to worry about being bigger than everybody now, you know? What?
Yeah, except they don't want you. Now they don't want you as big down there.
No, they told me to drop some weight. I dropped about 10 pounds to come into this tryout because I didn't know what I was in for, but I don't know. There's just, you know, there's use and abuse. It's like anything else, right? You can't put a Volkswagen Beetle in a NASCAR race. You know, this is what we do for a living, and it's part of our lifestyle, it's part of our culture, and it's just accepted. And you know, as long as you know what you're doing, you're under supervision, all that kind of thing, to each his own, right? And as soon as I put on the weight, I turned heel, and I drastically changed my style and attitude. My work is quadrupled, and I'm very happy. So you know, it's been the best thing I've done.
Yeah, how do you like Puerto Rico?
A lot of ass. A lot of good-looking girls. Can't go wrong there. It can do crazy things to you, you know, because you can just kind of try to be normal and be cool. But it's real hard when you see all these young girls walking around with mini skirts. Kind of takes your mind off wrestling. I love the company. I think working under Luke Williams has probably been the greatest experience. Two people I love to work with, and one was Terry Taylor, and the other one was Luke Williams. I've learned more with Luke Williams than I've ever learned anywhere else in my life. I think he's a great guy. He knows the business inside out. He's helped me so much. I like the dressing room down there. I like the guys. I like the work style. The fans are great.
Crowds are huge.
Crowds are huge, and you know, I got great chemistry with Ricky Banderas. Now we're partners right now, but when we work against each other, I think they've been some of the best matches I've ever had. And I'm just having a great time down there, and I love it. And I'm very thankful that, you know, after all the shit I talked about them, they've accepted me with open arms down there, and I'm loving it. I'm really loving it down there a lot. It's great. The wrestling is phenomenal. It's just too bad that it doesn't get the exposure as it does up here. It's just too bad that wrestling fans are starved for wrestling, and there's some stuff in Mexico. Mexico it's kind of not happening right now, but there's some stuff that's really good. But Puerto Rico is where it's at, and it's too bad that, without mentioning any names, that the American wrestling fan is force-fed only the WWF and then little results from all over the world. I'm telling you, the crowd and the work in Puerto Rico is incredible. Also in Japan, there's some, obviously in Japan, there's some phenomenal stuff, but Puerto Rico, Mexico, Japan, and the WWF.
Yeah.
So you tell me. This is expensive toilet paper, by the way.
Yeah, it's got sharp edges on it. You get hemorrhoids. Goddamn, forgot what I was going to ask you.
Something about
the cooch in Mexico versus Puerto Rico?
I think the question was more like, which country has the best ass?
Yeah.
These are important things for wrestling fans to know.
Yeah.
There are some very sexy women in Puerto Rico. And I'll have to say that I'm here in Los Angeles and I've seen some very sexy women today.
Yeah, especially the Japanese woman over by the
Yes,
right.
especially her. And there are some very sexy girls in Japan. But I'll have to give it to Mexico, hands down. There's something about a young, dark-skinned girl with long black hair that kind of sets a man on fire.
Girl, I hope the girl in Puerto Rico doesn't see this interview.
But she's good too. She could be Mexican. There's sexy girls everywhere, but Puerto Ricans, you know, this is something I don't understand. The island's only 100 miles long by 35 miles wide. 90% of the guys are gay and all the women are sexy as hell. So, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, going to a candy store, if that's your thing. So I've heard. Not me. I'm a good boy. But, you know, fuck, what can I tell you? Puerto Rico's got some hella sexy women. In Mexico, if you want to get really freaky, Mexico is the place to be.
What'd you think when you heard about Feinstein getting busted on TV?
I was so surprised. You know, it's hard to believe that there are dirty things like that in pro wrestling. Can you imagine drug use, homosexuality?
I never even showed you the tape, have you?
I've seen it.
Oh, you have?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Now, all you motherfuckers out there who think I just talk shit, especially you fucking retards on the wrestling boards in England, and that one fat cheap fucker from Ireland, and all the other guys from down under, and whoever else just says I'm a prick and this and that. I told y'all that he was a fucking pedophile. I told y'all he was a homo. I told you he took it and gave it up the ass freely. And it's caught on tape by the FBI.
No, it wasn't the FBI. It was just Channel 10 in Philadelphia, but that's even better because it's on tape.
That's fucking FBI, Channel 10, same thing. It's caught on tape. It's all over the internet trying to fuck 14-year-old boys in the ass, promising them wrestling tickets and chocolate chip cookies. I told you. I told y'all. You wanted to do a lawsuit. How can you say this about me? How can you do this? It's impossible. It's not true. Well, hey, you know.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, anyway, we'll...
It wasn't him, though. It looked like him. It wasn't him.
Yeah, it wasn't his car either.
No, it wasn't his house either.
Yeah.
It wasn't his email address, and it wasn't his computer.
Yeah.
And that porno collection of young boys under his bed, that wasn't his either. It just came in his house.
Yeah, it was just a mistake. Well, anyway, we'll continue this on the 26th after you do your match at the New Japan Tucon
New
4
Japan.
show
New Japan.
when they start television. So that should be a good night.
Yes, it will.
Okay.